I've always been a big advocate for open-ear designs when it comes to listening to music or podcasts during exercise, and today I'm going to test the Oladance Wearable Stereo earbuds, which, and here comes a spoiler for you, I consider to be one of the best options on the market right now. And if you want to know how good these earbuds really are, then I will give you my detailed assessment right after the intro. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the Oladance Buds review, I have to tell you that I got this free sample from the manufacturer, but I'm not getting paid, nor did I give preview privileges to anyone, and I'm completely free to convey my honest and unfiltered opinion to you guys. And now on to the review. When I opened up the box for the first time and took out the slim but rather long carry case, my initial thoughts were twofold. First, the whole package screamed quality. I got this true upmarket or premium feel from the get-go. And second, I thought that the case looks like a case for your glasses, only smaller. And the Oladance case shares another feature in common with those spectacle cases, and that's that neither have built-in batteries, but more about it in a second. And the case itself is very well built. It has this nice and almost soft-to-touch coating, and it's slim enough to be carried around in medium to large pockets. The hinge has quite a springy action, so you can pop the lid open easily, but it's the tiniest bit on the loose end of the spectrum, and it does not have a hard, clicky stop at the fully open position. But what's probably more important is that when I opened up the lid, it was a love at first sight with those buds. Simply put, I've never seen any open-ear buds with such a beautiful design. The plastic materials, the build quality and the paintwork are all top of the class. If you feel like this Martian orange is way too bright for your taste, then of course there are other color options available too. And when I hooked the earbuds onto my ears for the first time, I felt like, okay, these are probably the most comfortable sports buds I have ever tested. And after using them for hours and hours and hours of running, lifting or simply strolling around in Lisbon, I can safely say that my first impression was spot on, and the Oladance buds are indeed super comfy. The ear hooks are sturdy but flexible enough at the same time, the buds are perfectly balanced when sitting on my ears, and while on the outside they have this glossy finish, the ear hooks, the inside of both the speaker units and the units behind your ears, got a soft, skin-friendly silicone coating. Once I was wearing the earbuds for about 7 hours straight with a 10K race in the middle of the day, and I kept forgetting about the buds on my ears. The earbuds did never budge during any exercise I was doing in the last couple of weeks, and I only noticed the slip-on silicone caps in the box before I sat down to do this review, which I assume there are to give you an even more snug fit behind your ears. But again, I personally never needed them. The Oladance buds are IPX4 rated splash and sweat resistant, and they easily survived my 10K race where I poured 2 bottles of cold water on my head to prevent overheating. And while in Lisbon the weather was more than just fine, here in Galway it's been rather miserable, so I wasn't really braving those conditions to test the Oladance buds outside on a bike. But they are comfortable to be used with my helmet and sunglasses. And based on my experience with running outside, the open-ear design will provide you with an enhanced level of situational awareness compared to traditional in-ear buds, which can be hugely beneficial when it comes to road safety. The Oladance buds weigh in at around 12.6 grams each, which in the world of normal in-ear buds might be considered substantial, but in open-ear terms it is as lightweight as it can get. So far so good, and if I tell you that the buds can easily be used for 16 hours on a single charge, then you might say, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And it is, right? Right. But if you remember my remark about the similarity between the Oladance case and spectacle cases, then you know that the single charge playtime is actually the total battery life too. The case can only charge the earbuds when it's connected to a USB-C charger, but it doesn't have a battery of its own. If you want an extreme long 90 hours plus battery life, then you will have to buy another charging case separately for $50 on top of the $180, which is the asking price of the earbuds. I'm not sure what to think about it, but I would lean towards saying that such a charging case, or at least one which can, let's say, double the playtime, should have been included with the base package already. That said, even without the extra charging case, the Oladance buds will last a full week of training or more, depending on your workout routine of course, and at the end of the day it makes this questionable decision sort of acceptable in my eyes. In terms of connection, we got a Bluetooth 5.2 compliant chip on board with support for the AAC and the SBC audio codecs. No high-res options or multi-point support, which is a bit disappointing, but it's not the end of the world for sure. Pairing is quick and easy with both iOS and Android devices, and I did not experience any signal dropouts, not even in busy areas with loads of competing wireless signals. You can use each of the buds on their own and the latency is low enough to watch videos and movies without any lip sync issues, but if you want the lowest possible lag for your hardcore gaming sessions, you will have to look somewhere else. And in case you were wondering how the earbuds perform when it comes to making phone calls, here is a quick test for you. So this is the voice transmission quality you can expect from these buds in a quiet environment. And here is another audio sample for you guys, and this time I'm testing the microphones on the Oladance Wearable Stereo outside with some traffic noise and some wind thrown into the mix. Onto the controls, well, this is the only weak point of these otherwise exceptional earbuds. And that's not because you won't get all the controls you might ever need, as you can control play, pause, you can skip tracks forward and backward or adjust volume up and down. You can also activate your voice assistant and manage your phone calls from the buds themselves, and you can easily reassign either of these functions to any of the single, double or triple tap actions. Plus there is a swipe up and down action, which is assigned to the volume controls by default. So in theory, the controls are well thought out, but in real life and especially during exercise and in cold or humid conditions, I found them a bit of a hit and miss. The swiping action gets registered as single tap more often than not, so my first thing was to disable the single tap in the Oladance app. And that's great that we can indeed disable any of the tapping actions. But even with this issue sorted, I found the volume controls a bit finicky at times, so I set the triple tap to adjust volume with the single tap being play pause. And this way my hit rate improved a lot. But then again, the double and especially the triple tap action requires you to tap the touch panels in a very specific rhythm or pace to make them register the intended action. All in all, the controls are far from useless, as I could make them work thanks to the extremely flexible remapping options in the app, but I only wish we had at least one or two physical buttons on the buds which would work more precisely and more predictably across all scenarios and in all conditions. With all that said, keep in mind that my fingers can easily get sweaty and sticky during a hard workout, so your mileage with the controls might vary. Next up is the Oladance smartphone app, so let's see what we can do with that. I touched upon the custom media controls already, but we can also customize the phone call related controls completely separately. We get a few EQ presets and a 6-band manual equalizer as well, but I would rather leave everything in default mode because EQing the buds does not do much of a good thing in my opinion, if anything at all. However, your taste and experience might vary and the option to play around with the EQ is there nonetheless. In the app we also get an auto mute timer which gets rid of that hiss, which is otherwise always present when the earbuds are actively connected to your phone. Inside or in a quiet environment the hiss can be quite obvious and therefore annoying a little, but if you are out and about you won't even notice it after a while. But back to the app, the next feature worth mentioning is a slider where you can play around with the volume balance between the left and the right bud. Of course you get the usual quick user guide and the option for firmware updates, but that's pretty much all. The Oladance app is available for both Android and iOS. And after that little rant regarding the touch controls, it's time to praise the earbuds on their sound quality a bit. So in each front unit, there is a large 16.5mm dynamic speaker pointed towards the opening of your ear canals. And those speakers are not only big, but they can also sound big. Starting with the lower frequencies, the Oladance buds are closer to traditional in-ear buds in terms of their bass performance than any other open-ear buds I listened to before. We get a tight and well-controlled bass with decent extension and a nice impact. And that's all without the annoying vibrations of a bone conduction design. Bass heads, of course, are not expected to be 100% satisfied with the delivery of the lowest registers, but again, bass is as good as it gets in the realm of open-ear headphones. Moving up in the frequency range, we get a well-balanced sound across the mids and the treble with just the right amount of detail and energy. Vocals sound forward and they take center stage if the mix requires them to do so. Instruments sound great with true-to-life tonality and they can convey subtle musical details too. The highs are also crisp and energetic, but they are not overdriven, so the sound of the earbuds will never get fatiguing. A bit of a sibilance is noticeable with certain recordings, but that's all. The soundstage is wide with loads of air and a good sense of three-dimensionality in its presentation, while imaging is precise with an excellent separation between all the pieces, instruments and effects. And after listening to music with these earbuds, I started to understand why the manufacturer tries to separate themselves from others in the category of open ears by calling these buds wireless stereo instead. It's not quite like having your own high-end stereo setup with you on the go, but it's closer than I expected it to be, and that in itself deserves my appreciation. Volume is high enough for most scenarios including traffic outside, but for commuting or gym use, I would still recommend using in-ear buds with active noise cancellation. In more quiet environments, such as an office or at home, the buds can work well, but you will have to bear in mind the higher than average level of sound leakage, which is one of the drawbacks of the open-ear design. And in conclusion, the Oladance Wearable Stereo buds are not cheap, and if you also consider buying the extra charging case, then it will make them one of the most expensive open-ear sport headphones out there. But the Oladance buds are truly premium in all sense and from all aspects, which usually comes at a price. And more than likely you will not even need that extra case anyway. Well, I did not miss it one bit over the test period of almost a month at this stage, with an average of 8 to 9 hours of training a week and including a 5-day trip to Lisbon. And the Oladance buds, in my opinion, are the best looking, the best sounding and the most comfortable open-ear sport headphones money can buy today, so that price tag is easily justified. The touch controls might need some fine-tuning, and I could imagine a software update with multi-point support added to the feature list, but other than that, I can hardly find anything to fault with these earbuds. I will probably do a detailed open-ear headphones comparison sometime in the near future, but all the other manufacturers have their work cut out for them if they want to impress me as much as Oladance did with these little bright orange gems. And even without that test, I don't think I will risk too much by saying that if you want premium open-ear buds for your outdoor activities, then the Oladance Wearable Stereo is probably your best shot as of making this video at the end of March 2023. And that's it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Your comments are welcome as always, so let's continue the discussion about the earbuds down below, and you can also find up-to-date information regarding the prices in the description. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.